Okay, so in this video, we're going to be looking at how do we deal with people's birthdays and people's hire dates. I think the concept works for both of these, but how do we work with both of those to set up some notifications or to know like tenure? So I have Charlie today. We're going to be going through this. Charlie, I'd say we build stuff like this. I feel like this is a pretty common request we get from clients. So this is something we're building pretty often. And we just thought, let's make a video about it.
Yeah, it's usually not like the reason why someone comes to us initially, like, hey, I need a birthday tracker. But it's usually something that happens once they get through the initial phase and they want these nicer to haves and they get questions from their management and they're like, okay, instead of tracking this in a spreadsheet and manually spending an hour a week, like tracking what are upcoming birthdays that I have to be tracking, I could just have an automated system for it. So if we already have the data of people's birthdays, why not?
Yeah, and not relying on like LinkedIn notifications or Facebook notifications for birthdays.
Exactly. So I'm gonna do just a simple birthday tracker. Let's assume this is, Charlie Melendez, Ben Green. We're gonna date ourselves, which is gonna be interesting to the people who watch this 100 years from now.
True.
So my birthday is August 9th, 1990, and your birthday is
November 25th, 1998.
I think you see it. I don't know if people know this, but Airtable is really good at you just like typing like that, and it's able to infer the date pretty well, like
That's
without
awesome.
doing slashes and things. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is like ask ourselves, what are we trying to track? First one is like, I want to know whose birthday is today. I think that's a pretty good thing to track. So we can't say is today their birthday because their birthday has a year involved with it, and that throws things off, obviously. So it's more like, is the month and day today the same as the month and day that they were born back in their year? So what you want to create is and let's call this DOB, date of birth. So you want to create a formula that's like, if they have a date of birth, you want to date time format the date of birth as month, date. Pretty simple. So now we have a month and a day that I can try to attach to today. This can be its own field, which you can call like date of birth calculated for automation. Put a gearbox, whatever you want to do there. And the next thing you want to do is equate this to today. So basically now that we have like what the day is, you can also get rid of this field if you want to. I'm having it here just for visibility purposes, but you basically want to duplicate this and say, does this equal now? And I don't think we need this whole if statement anymore. So let's see if today was September 9th, or if I was born on September 9th of 1990, it would show now because the day and month match. I'm not sure if this calculates like with leap year. I am sorry for all those who might fall into one of those days. But this is one. And what I've also seen people want to know is like what's on the radar. So they might want an email on the first of the month of what's the upcoming month's birthdays so that they have that and they can start preparing swag bags or anything like that or notifications. So like you would just take this a step further to say like what's the month of this, which is very simple. We just copy the same concept, like month of birth would be this with just the month. And then like, wait, let's just call this today is, and then similarly, we'd say today or birthday this month, and this equals right? So then if we change this to be on the 30th, it still is in this month. If we change it to be on October 1st, it's no longer in this month. And so on the first of the month, you can have an automation that says, go and find all the people in my table with this number one. As we know, this was a terrible automation to run if you had more than 100 employees or more than, say, 300 employees not too long ago. But now you can increase the find parameter. And so I think it would work. Yeah. And the same concept applies to like work anniversaries. So if I had my hire date here, I can have the same thing. Who is like this month and how many years? So you can then have a date time difference between now and their hire date to say like this is the 20th anniversary of this employee or the 5th. And when they reach this number, we want to automate this to happen. We want to send this type of gift based on the date time difference between now and when they were hired.
So let's say you wanted to build a notification when today is somebody's birthday, like their birthday is today, and you want a reminder to send them a birthday message. How would you use this to send a notification to yourself maybe?
I feel like there's a couple different ways, but the first question is like, how many employees do we have or how many people? Are there going to be like multiple birthdays a day? Because if that's the case, I don't want to receive 4 different notifications. I might want to receive one notification that says these are the 4 people with birthdays, and this is when they were hired. This is their department. This is their manager. Blah blah. Or even managers get their own notification. If it was under them, you can do all
Mm-hmm.
that. So let's assume it's like that. I would probably have an automation that once a day finds records that meet a certain condition, where today is the birthday. So this actually won't be when a record reach conditions. This is at scheduled time. Every day at, let's make it in the morning. We're simply going to find records.
So that at a scheduled time is basically saying every day at this time, or like every one day. So every day at 7 a.m., go find these records. And then the benefit of that, it sounds like, is like it's only going to trigger once for everybody. So, or like it's only going to trigger once per day. So even if there's 5 people that day, it's going to send one notification rather than sending 5. Like you get pinged 5 times in Slack, or you have your phone on your bedside table and you hear like 5 Slack notifications go off, and you're like, oh, who is that? Nice morning alarm clock at 7.
Yeah, exactly. So to keep it simple, this controls it. So it's only going every one day. And this is really powerful because this can be like weeks. This can be every 2 days, right? Like every other day. It's really cool. I love how much power this trigger has. Let's keep it simple. I'm going to go find all the birthdays, and then I'm going to write myself an email. It could be a Slack message that goes into my HR channel. There's a couple different things we could do here, but I'm also going to create advanced logic. I don't want this to happen. I don't want to get a notification if it's nobody's birthday, right? So I only want to send this if we actually find people whose birthday it is today. So every day it's going to check. It's going to use 30 automations a month, so this shouldn't be a big issue for any base. And here we can even put, this might be something that a lot of people don't know, but the length function is pretty cool. So I can say like this many birthdays today. So how many records I found? It could say 7 birthdays today, 1 birthday today. So yeah,
So
length of record.
you can use that little blue plus to pull in the length of records from that find record step, so that it
Exactly.
says what Charlie just said.
Yeah. So yeah, length of records is a good one, good variable to pull in. And then here we're going to, below is a list. And let's put down here, of the found records, our grid, we don't want a list. A list is when I'm just finding one record and I want to list out the features of that one record. A grid is a grid of records. And in this case, I might find multiple people, and I simply want to send what's their name, maybe some notes, their date of birth, and that's it. We don't need anything else on this message. Um, it's hard to. Can you test this right? Test this automation.
I think you can test as long as there's no loop in an automation.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you see, there was nobody with the birthday today. If I were to put my birthday today, you think I was born yesterday? Then I think it would find. And it's going to show you right there. Nice. I don't like that it shows this UTC. I don't know if I've ever been able to remove that from these automation notifications.
I think you'd have to have like a datetime format where it returns that as text instead. But that's like for this one that may be a little bit overkill.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the automation on setup for that.
So what if I want to know what is the tenure of any of these people? Because I know, like similar to this automation, maybe I want to start getting notifications when people hit like say 5 years or 10 years. I want to just know how many years has somebody been with us, or how many years has somebody been alive.
How many years has someone been alive?
I mean,
In this
like
case?
I want to know how many years since this date. I want to make this work for both
Okay,
dates of
so
birth
let's
and
just go
hiring
off
date.
of age. So let's just do an age formula. So age is going to be a formula, oops, which is the date time difference between now, and I always get this wrong, which like the flip of this, I always get it wrong. But if it's negative, I know I can just flip it around, right?
Yeah,
Now and TOB as years, and I think I'm going to be 0. Yeah,
nice.
I look pretty good for my age, don't I? Let's see, 99. Let's just put 99.
There you
Yeah.
have it.
So that's one way to do it. Um, yeah, if you can imagine if this was like a higher date and I was hired, 2017, higher date would show how long someone has been here. Uh, right. So like if this was like 2023, you would have hit your 1 year mark. If you were hired on the 10th of 2023, tomorrow would be your 1 year mark.
Yep.
Um, so yeah.
So there's a formula that I don't use too often. So I one thing I really like about the ones you just set up is it's always going to be in years. There's a formula I don't use too often because the output is so different. Have you tried the to now or from now formulas that work pretty similarly to this, but the output is like I don't know how the logic works, but it either returns like the best argument for number of months, number of years, number of hours, that kind of thing. And I don't have much experience with these because of what I just said, but let's try it out. And have you found a good use case for this formula?
Wow. No, I've never used this formula. Um,
And I have no idea the difference between those two. Does that say 26 years for my date of
yeah.
birth? Interesting. Must be rounding up. Because I have, yeah.
Wait, but it's going off of the date of birth. Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's to your point. Is like it's not, and you can't really control this output, like
Hmm.
months, years. So I feel like it's more for like a text input, maybe, or like a text output of something. If you wanted like a good dialogue that you don't have to program too much, but yeah, I haven't had to use this before.
Yeah, because if I go down on the next record, like it'll even do it in terms of days there.
And
So
and
it
then
is
if it's
nice in that way,
monthly,
but I
or if
wouldn't really use it to trigger the automation.
and then it goes to hours,
Yeah.
and if this had time, Whoa, an hour.
Wow. Not
Whoa.
even 1 hour, an hour.
I did not expect that. 15 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
And then did I pass? What does it say when you go? Oh yeah, it's just the difference too. Interesting.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Charlie, for jumping on and just going through. Here's how you work with different dates. If you maybe you're building a personal CRM, maybe you're building a tenure tracker, or you want to just know the dates of birth of the people on your team. That way you can send them gifts or send them notifications. This is a great use case for Airtable. A different thing that Charlie, if you want like another basically Charlie tip, what we were going through earlier today, and it'll be the video here on the end screen, is if you want to go learn how to use a delay record or a delay script in an automation. There's some like certain best practices you could learn around delaying an automation so that it doesn't input the wrong data somewhere. It basically gives Airtable time to think. Actually, the use case was giving the human time to think this morning. So if you want that, go check out the video here in the end screen. Go learn the delay record script. But thanks again, Charlie. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, Ben.